hear from you. Thank you.
Okay, so let us get the setup ready.
This morning Amrita Kitty gave class, right? There is no hall in class. Yes. Okay. They are new setup. Not for me. I wanted to hear what he had to say, but I couldn't hear what he said. Singing is your turn. Did you want this one? I'm not getting it. Plus,
Sorry, this is another guy.
Okay. I'm very grateful to be here. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanyamanoਭીષ્ટಂ Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dharati Svapadam Vancha Kalpataruscha Kripā Sindhu Patitanam Pavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gauranga Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Pujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Manojavam Tatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vamirayutha Mukhyam Shri Ram Dutam Shirasa Namami Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Hare Krishna, thank you for joining us tonight for our Sunday Feast program. I've been told that this entire month we are celebrating the appearance and activities and most importantly the character of Lord Ram, because Ram Navami was a few weeks ago. So, if I were to give you even an executive summary of Sri Ramayana before I narrate a particular incident, it's going to take a while, so I'm not going to get into it. All I could say is that the Ramayana is a book of mystery, just as the Bhagavad Gita is. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, there are sentences, but to decipher what the sentences mean is a project for more than a few lifetimes. Ramayana is also like that. However, Ramayana has an added layer of mystery to it, or intrigue. And it is that it is composed in poetry form. How it came about, I really wish I can tell you, but I'm going to keep moving because I have time till 6:30, that's short. So, it's in poetry form, and you know that whenever, how many of us have studied poetry in school? I'm not going to ask how many of us did well, but just so, the poet, any poet, he or she, uses certain words, phrases, metaphors, but they, although the words say one thing, they mean something else altogether. So interestingly, the Ramayana is poetry, okay, of 24,000 shlokas, and each shloka has 32 syllables. Okay, so technically speaking, there are 24,000 times 32 mysteries to be solved. Because each syllable has been picked and chosen and placed with a lot of deliberation. So, while the storyline is definitely fascinating and it's important because it's the activity of Lord Ramachandra, we know that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever he says and does, there is profound meaning behind it. And we as aspiring spiritualists, we want to know certain activities and the messages Lord Ram has given. So this is a small attempt at it. So I'm going to talk from the Kishkindha Kanda. If you had time, I would explain the word Kishkindha has many meanings. But Kishkindha Kanda. And the particular importance of Kishkindha Kanda is that this is the meeting of Lord Ramachandra and Hanuman. And that meeting leads them to an incident where Lord Ramachandra meets Sugriva. Okay, so we're going to start there. How Lord Ram met Hanuman, that itself it's at least 2-3 hours of discussion. So they have met, and he invites him to and brings him to the Rishyamukha mountain, and they meet each other. And when we meet someone, it's but natural we'll ask, what is your name? This is my name, this is who I am. And then we tell each other, you know what, especially if you meet in a doctor's office, then you will say, I'm here because I have a knee problem. Someone else will say, I have a back problem. You talk about each other's problems, especially when you make friendships. So Lord Ramachandra and Sugriva, when they meet, this is how the meeting goes on. So Lord Ramachandra says, I'm here because I have been told that my wife has been kidnapped. And I don't know where she is. I only have little bits of clue. And Kabandha, who we find in the previous Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kabandha told me to come to Rishyamukha mountain to meet you and make friendship with you so you can help me find my wife, Sita. So Sugriva says, yeah, sure, I'm happy to help. Actually, I am in a similar situation too. I was also a prince in Kishkindha, and there was a big misunderstanding between me and my brother Vali, and Vali kicked me out, and he narrates the whole story of the misunderstanding. And now I'm hiding in Rishyamukha mountain with a few of my ministers, because if Vali finds me anywhere else, he will kill me. This is the only place that he cannot come. He has a what's that called? He has a curse, but in America, when you don't want someone to come to a place, you get a restraining order. Vali has a restraining order from entering Rishyamukha mountain. Actually, it's a curse. And the restraining order says, if he enters Rishyamukha mountain, he will immediately die. So I'm hiding here, and I'm the same condition. My wife's been taken away, my kingdom has been taken away by my brother, and I have nowhere to go. So then they decide, okay, we will help each other. And now Ram volunteers, I will help you first. So we will decode each of these a little bit. I'm just narrating the story first. So I said, I will help you first. I will help you fight Vali and get your kingdom back. Because I've heard the story, how you were wrongly kicked out. So before they get into signing the contract, Vali says, Subhadra says, although you're saying that you will fight my brother Vali, I don't think you have a clear idea of how strong Vali is. So Lord Ramachandra says, please tell me. It's always good to know who we are up against, to assess our competition. Please tell me. So he narrates that there was a great demon by the name Dundubhi. And Dundubhi was such a powerful demon that his favorite activity or pastime was to ask people to fight with him, to challenge them to fight and win over them. So he once saw the formidable ocean and challenged the demigod of the oceans. Fight with me. Wrestle with me. I want to see who's more powerful. So Varuna came and told him, what kind of a fight am I for you? I'm not a match for you. If you really want to fight with someone, go to the presiding deity of the Himalayas. Himalayas, Himala. Ask him. So he said, oh, really? And he jumped from this ocean, this side, and went to the Himalayas and challenged the deity of the Himalayas. Fight with me. So Himala said, I am actually no match for you. We're not even in the same league. You really want, a good fight? We all think that you fight with Vali and see if that works out. He said, oh, really? I will go. And these are great personalities, the demigod of the oceans and the lord of the mountains. They could not do anything. So when he went to Vali's kingdom in Kishkinda, Vali was sleeping. So from the outside, Dundubi called him out. Hey, Vali! I heard you're very strong, I heard you're very valiant, but there's no match to my strength. I'm wondering if you would like a fight, and if you are mad enough or monkey enough, come out. Vali sprang out of his bed. Generally, if I can say one way to relate to it is, how do we all feel when our alarm rings in the morning? We don't spring out of bed, right? Our favorite, the most wonderful invention is the snooze button. We take time for the body to feel like I can somehow roll out of bed. Vali sprang out of bed because challenge for him was the most coveted. And he just ran without taking any weapons. And he and Dundubi fought non-stop for over a month. No eating, no sleeping, no time out, no one ringing the bell for next round or this round is over, nothing like that. There were no rules. They just fought and fought and fought to such a degree that Vali pretty much finished Dundubi, picked him up with his horns, swung him like Lord Balaram did with Devakasura, and threw him all the way from Kishkinda to the Rishyamukha mountain. And the whole demigods, whole set of devatas were aghast at Vali's power. And Dundubi was not some ordinary demon, he was a very powerful buffalo. Buffaloes are very powerful, and this guy was huge. So when Vali swung him and threw him to Rishyamukha mountain, anyone who would hear this story would say, oh, I don't want to fight with Vali. So Lord Ramachandra saw the skeleton, of Dundubi right there. He says, this is the one that my brothers flung so many miles away. So Lord Ramachandra walked up to the skeleton, and with the big toe of his left foot flicked it this time. That skeleton flew 80 miles and fell. So Lord Ramachandra looked at Sugriva and said, what do you think? Sugriva said, that's very wonderful, but I'm not sure that matches Vali's strength. Because when Vali killed Dundubi, Dundubi was a full live buffalo. He had his entire flesh, meat, bones, so life force in it, and so he was very strong. Now this is just the skeleton. The flesh is not there, so it is lighter. Yeah, I see that you flicked it 80 miles, but still. So Lord Ramachandra said, how should I demonstrate to you that I am a formidable opponent to Vali? Sugriva said, well, Vali had such power that when you would jump on a tree or hold a tree and shake it, in one shake, all the leaves of the tree would fall. Now for us, we see, when fall comes, it takes a few weeks of temperature changes, only then the leaves fall, otherwise the tree holds on to the leaves very tightly. But Vali's power was that he could shake a tree just once like this and all the leaves would fall. So Lord Ramachandra said, okay, I want to show you the power of my arrow. Took out an arrow and he pointed at a sal tree. So we said, Lord Ram asked, if I can pierce the sal tree. Sal is the one tree that has very hard timber. The tree is literally impenetrable. And it's not one of the little trees that you see, but it's a huge tree. So Lord Ramachandra said, let me show you. So he twanged his bow and shot an arrow at the sal tree. That arrow pierced to the sal tree with such velocity and force that all the leaves of the tree fell. But the arrow didn't stop. Then it went to another sal tree, another and another. 7 sal trees. And by the way, unlike we see in comics or books, those trees were not in a straight line. Because in physics, if you have something in a straight line, it's different from when the trees are, or whatever the objects are not, then there's a lot more friction when you lose velocity, because it will turn. But the arrow pierced 7 sal trees, all the leaves fell off, and as if that were not enough, the arrow pierced into the earth, and it said went down Bhuloka all the way to Patal Loka, which is 7 universal layers below. We have Bhuloka here, then you have Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Patala. And the universe is 4 billion miles in diameter. That arrow traveled all the way to Patal Loka, came back up and rested in Lord Ram's quiver. So Ram looked at Sugriva and said, what do you think? Sugriva said, yeah, I think. So then they shook hands and they decided that they will make. So in that agreement, Sugriva breaks a branch of a tree that has very soft leaves and offers it as a seat for Lord Ram. And then he breaks another branch as a seat for himself. And then they sit down to talk. Next steps. So while they are beginning this conversation, Hanuman, who is also standing there, notices that something is not right here. So he quickly jumps and brings another branch with better leaves and offers it to Lakshmana to sit down. So then the pact is made that Lord Ram will help Vali, and Lord Ramchandra tells Sugriva, go to Kishkinda, don't worry, I'm there for you. Go to Kishkinda and challenge Vali. And I will take care of Vali, I will kill him for you. So Sugriva goes, and every time he's walking forward, he's looking back to make sure, it will happen. So he challenges Vali. Why? I'm here to challenge you and rightfully take the kingdom back. Vali is like, this is my younger brother. He has not learned his lesson. I need to pulverize this guy. Jumps out running and they get into a fight. There's not even discussion. Nobody blows the whistle or anything. They just get into a fight. And Vali is so strong that he smashes Sugriva. And all the while that Sugriva is getting smashed, beaten up, bleeding, twisted, broken, everything, Sugriva is constantly looking to see why Lord Ram's not shooting this arrow. Anyway, Vali beats him to the point that he has a few breaths left to be alive. And Sugriva retreats, runs away. And he comes crying to Lord Ram. And in that conversation, although Lord Ram is very great, Sugriva uses a little harsh language. But it is couched in questions. So he says, did you forget what you were supposed to do? Or did you have cold feet? Or is it that when you looked at Vali, you realized that, oh, this guy is really very strong and not a good match for you? Or what happened? ¿Qué pasa? Why didn't you do anything? So Lord Ram tells Sugriva, I couldn't distinguish between the two of you. And my worry was, if I shoot an arrow and accidentally if I hit you, then I will lose a friend. So I did not shoot an arrow, but I have an idea. Go again. But this time, here's what we're going to do. There are these flowers, the big star-shaped flowers, they're called Gajapushpa. He said, we will make a garland out of these flowers. And he says, Lakshmana, make a garland and put it around Sugriva's neck, and we will send him money. Sugriva says, wow, I just got beat up like almost, I saw Yamaraj. I was at his door, bell, I was about to ring the door for Yamaraj. But he said, are you sure? Are you sure? So Lord Ram says, no, very sure. Because now you have this garland, we can recognize you. So the story goes that Sugriva goes, challenges Vali, then Lord Ramchandra shoots an arrow, killing Vali. Anyway, the discussion between Vali and Ram, if I'm invited another time, we'll go through it. It's a fascinating conversation. But anyway, not for tonight. However, in this episode, there are some very important occurrences. So it is said that when Lord Ramchandra and Sugriva, they shook hands, Valmiki's Sanskrit says, 3 pairs of lotus-shaped beautiful eyes. The left eye in these pairs started to tremble or quiver. Now generally, if you know, there is a science called Samudrika Lakshana. Samudrika Lakshana is the science that according to certain movements or feelings in the sensations in the body, they are considered like premonitions. For example, if for men the left eye twitches, then it is considered inauspicious. For women, if the left eye twitches, it's considered auspicious. Something auspicious is portended like that. So there is a whole science of Samudrika. I'm not an expert at it, but that's what Valmiki said. So he says the left eye of 3 pairs of eyes twitched. So the 3 pairs of eyes is that as soon as Sugriva and Ramachandra shook hands, Vali's left eye twitched. Vali had very beautiful eyes. So that's one. Second, it is said Ravana's left eye twitched. And the third is Sita Devi's left eye twitched. So it's a portending of inauspicious for 2 guys and auspiciousness for Sita Devi. Then the question is, this whole episode of Sugriva being, when they got together, Sugriva and Lord Ramachandra, Sugriva asked Lord Ramachandra to prove his strength. Now this is an important thing for us as practitioners of bhakti or as aspirants of some spiritual path in our lives. The difference is between Hanuman and Sugriva. When Hanuman met Lord Ramachandra, instantly at that moment, he knew this is the Supreme Personality. And I don't want to explain the details, but I'll tell you 1-2 sentences. Previously, when Lord Brahma and all the demigods, when Hanuman was a young boy, they had gifted him different strengths and powers. They told him that Brahmastra will not have any effect on you, the Nagastra will not have any effect, you will be a very long-lived person, death will not come to you easily. Every demigod, Devata, gives him certain blessings. So it is said that when he got all these blessings, Hanuman was not happy. He was still looking for morals. So Lord Brahma asked him, why are you not happy? You got such blessings. Anybody would, even if they got 1/1,000,000th of even one of those blessings, they would be so happy. He said, all that I have gotten are just material blessings. That is not what I need. So Lord Brahma told him, then I will bless you that you will meet the Supreme Lord face to face. Hanuman became very happy. And he said, but how will I know? So Lord Brahma told him, the day all the gifts that you have, your strength, your power, your agility, your intelligence, your ability to speak in a very wonderful way. One of the names of Hanuman is Vagvidam Varaha. Vagvidam means one who knows how to speak. And Vara means the best. And he said that when you meet the Supreme Personality, all of these abilities, gifts, talents that you have, they will not work. And your body will tremble in ecstasy. And you will know that that is the personality you have met. So when Hanuman meets Lord Ramachandra, actually there's a whole conversation that Hanuman speaks in a very fantastic way, and he is keeping himself in disguise as a sannyasi. But because he's standing in front of Lord Ram, that ability to keep himself in disguise goes away, and he says, I am Hanuman, minister of Sugriva. And that's when he realizes this is the Supreme, and he becomes a surrendered devotee right at that moment. But Sugriva is not like that. So Sugriva, it is said, actually characterizes Most of us, if not all of us, most of us. And most of us don't accept Krishna or Lord Ramachandra as the supreme so easily in our lives. So before we, chant Krishna's holy name, we wait for Krishna or Lord Ramachandra to prove himself to us first. We ask, generally, when we apply for a job or something, we try very hard to prove to the organization why we are eligible to serve in the organization. But when it comes to Krishna, we say, Krishna, try very hard and prove to me that you are worthy and eligible of my service. This is Sugriva mentality. We wait, because we wait. What has Lord Krishna done for me? I may have chanted one round, but I'm in this difficulty. Okay? And it seems like I'm offering some prayers, I'm breaking some coconut, I'm doing some fasting, vrata, but nothing's happening. So Lord Krishna has to prove himself to us that I'm actually worthy of your service. And we wait and we put him through many tests for a long time. Even after picking up a devotional practice, even then that mentality is subtle, hidden. We wait to see what will Krishna do, what will Lord Ramachandra do for me. And only when he does something that is satisfying enough for me, I say, oh, very nice, I will chant one round or one extra round. I want to take a small step towards you, Krishna. We wait for him to prove himself. So it shows the mentality of a young aspirant that the Lord has to go out of his way. That idea of service, Srila Prabhupada teaches us that the opportunity to serve Krishna is not just an opportunity, but it's a very, very high privilege that even the devatas have to stand in line to get like a tiny, tiny opportunity to serve Krishna, which by Prabhupada's grace or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's grace, we seem to get in abundance. And because something comes in abundance, the value of it may not be so clear. And I'll tell you a story of it. One of my senior god brothers, when I was getting initiated, told me a story. He said it in Hindi, so I don't know it, I can't remember it in Hindi, but this is what he said. It narrated that there were certain tribals who used to live in a forest of sandalwood trees. They were tribal people. So when they needed to cook their food, they would break these branches of the sandalwood tree and light a fire. A person from the city somehow came into the forest, and when he saw this forest of sandalwood, he was like, oh, wow, the sandalwood is rare and at a premium, right? But he saw the tribals were just breaking sandalwood and burning to cook khichdi. He was aghast, oh my gosh, you don't understand? This is sandalwood. It is so rare to find sandalwood. And the tribal said, wherever we look, it is only sandalwood. So the lesson my senior godbrother told me was, because you are living and engaging with the devotees, wherever you look, you will see the devotees. Somebody who doesn't have this opulence of the association of devotees, the opportunity to come and serve Krishna because they know how rare it is. Because you do it every day, you may not understand it. You think of it as sandalwood to cook your khichdi. So always understand how valuable it is. So now serving Krishna is such a privilege, and serving Krishna's devotees is even higher, more privileged than serving Krishna. So, Sugriva, or Valmiki through Sugriva tells us that we need to check inside, am I waiting for Lord Ram to shoot an arrow through the 7 sal trees before I can say, yeah, I guess you are worthy of my service? Then the privilege of serving the devotees, that lesson, is when Sugriva broke the branch for Lord Ram, he did not offer a seat for Lord Lakshmana. And Hanuman recognized that. So very quickly when Hanuman offered, then it was sorted out. But it is said that the great scholars and different persons, even great sages and devotees, cannot till this day, from the time Ramayana was being composed, cannot till this day fully comprehend why Lord Ram said, I could not distinguish between you and Bali. Okay? Actually, they say how easy it is to distinguish between Bali and Sugriva. First of all, Bali has or gifted by Indra a very special necklace that has a special pendant to it. And the pendant has the power that whoever is facing any enemy that comes in front of Bali, half their strength will be drawn out and Bali will become even more powerful. Now Sugriva is not wearing it, Bali is wearing it. Right? Lord Ram, it's obvious, it's there. So that's one obvious distinction. Second, Bali is a king. Okay? Every day eating Rajbhog. Sugriva is on a keto diet. He's been in the forest eating fruits, roots, berries, some potatoes here and there. So the guy is skinnier. Someone like Vali and someone like Sugriva, you can tell the distinction. Lord Ram said, I couldn't tell the difference. Another, Vali is living in the palace, right? So he has all the ornaments, gold necklaces, armlets, bangles. Sugriva is on the forest, hiking, very minimalist, nothing. So just physically and with all the appearance you can make the distinction. Right? At least 3 things are there to tell the distinction. But one Lord Ram said, I can't distinguish. It's still a mystery. The Lord is never lying. Okay. So Lord Ramachandra is called Satyavan. So never lying. So the great acharyas, they decipher this mystery this way. The amount of time that Sugriva was beaten up is equal to the amount of time Lakshmana was made standing. So the important principle is that we may be very excited to serve Krishna or Lord Ramachandra, but if we neglect the devotees who actually are more valuable, then Lord Ram or Krishna, they don't let that go easily. So Sugriva was corrected by being beaten up by Vali as a means of the offense he did to Lakshmana. And Krishna takes it very seriously. For example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is that incarnation of Krishna, who his weapons, Sango Pangastra Parshadam, all his weapons are just a Hare Krishna mantra, and his associates, Mridanga Kartal. Of course, Kartal can be a weapon, used as a ballistic, but that's not what it is meant for. His weapons are all this. Even that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who never killed a demon, never was angry at anyone like that, became very upset, and Lord Nityananda was struck. Same. So when Lakshmana was disrespected by Sugriva, Lord Ram didn't say anything then, but he got beat up nicely. And then Lord Ramachandra told him, go again. But this time, everyone that was standing there, of all the persons, Lord Ramachandra told Lakshmana, make a garland of Gaja Pushpa and put it around Sugriva's neck. He did not tell Hanuman, who is the servant of Sugriva. Lord Ramchandra did not do it personally. He asked Lakshmana to do, because when someone brings a garland and offers to you, whoever you are, you have to bow your head to accept the garland. So only when Lakshmana went and Sugriva bowed his head, that offense was cleared. So Lord Ram said, now you go and you will come back victorious. So without the blessing of a Vaishnava, without the blessing of a devotee, it is practically impossible. It's not enough to have the blessings of Krishna. Actually, when we come to temple, most of us, we have a tendency to walk up to Radha Madhava or Radha Shyama Sundar and basically pour out all our problems. Right? That is natural, because Krishna says, one who is in distress, one who is financially destitute or feels that they have less money, which is pretty much all of us, however rich we are, we feel it's not enough, right? Comes to me. Actually, those prayers, although we do it heartfelt, in a heartfelt manner, they don't reach Krishna. I'm sorry to say. So all that you said earlier has gone wasted. Okay. The way to offer prayers to Krishna is to offer to the immediate Acharya, our Srila Prabhupada, or one spiritual master, and request, please, on my behalf, pass it on to Krishna. Because he will hear it when you say it. That's just the foundational principle of Vaishnavism, that our approach to the Lord is through his devotees. Actually, in Sanskrit, the person who does the worship, like our Prabhu did here, they were called Purohit. Right? The word Purohit, generally we think some Prabhuji or Mataji or whatever, but the word Purohit, Pura means city. Right? Such and such Pur, Nagpur, Sholapur, Kanpur, Pur. Pura means city or the public in general. And Hita means benefit or for their benefit. So Purohit is the person who benefits the entire city or the congregation who come. So the real benefit is to get the blessings of the Acharya, the devotees of Krishna. So Lord Ram taught Sugriva a very wonderful lesson, that respecting Lakshmana is as perhaps more important than just shaking hands and becoming. So then Bali was killed, and like I said, another time we will do Balis. So there's a couple of things to, I guess, take home. One is, as an exercise, today and today onwards, please consider, or let's consider, that are we in some perhaps innocent way waiting for the Lord to prove his eligibility to us? Who is interviewing whom? Should be clear. We are not interviewing the Lord. We are begging the Lord, please engage me in your service. We can only beg. Okay? We cannot wait for Krishna or Lord Ramachandra to say, first prove to me, then, then I will pick up the beads, then I will say Krishna, or then I will fold my hand, whatever. You get that. Are we doing that? Somehow, in some perhaps innocent way, but are we doing that? Let's look in. That's one. Second is the opulence and the abundance of the facility that Srila Prabhupada has provided is in the richness of the devotees of Krishna. And any opportunity we get to do even a little bit of service for them is actually very, very well noticed by him. And any opportunity that we either intentionally or deliberately miss is also noticed by him, and perhaps quite well. I have found that in my life of practicing Krishna consciousness for almost, this is my 19th or 20th year, that when I hold something intentionally negative about another devotee, I get a Sugriva lesson in my life. I have. So when I am studying this part of Ramayana, it was such a enlightening and eye-opening event. Because every time in my life that I've noticed that something like that has happened is very closely connected to how I have felt or spoken or done something in relation to another devotee of Krishna. So those are two main messages. We have a few minutes. If you have any comments, experiences, suggestions, criticism, anything that you have, please, this will be the time to bring it up. Any questions, comments, suggestions, thoughts?
Just comment. I mean, you have touched into so many wonderful times concerning the humans, but even though I cannot direct it, but you can see so much in the animal kingdom also. How animal acted because of the super souls within. They acted in such a way to be directed at such things. Even the birds, these, even building a little nest. You see, so other stuff.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a question.
I can hear a voice, can't see it.
Yes.
Akashvani.
So, first of all, thank you. Your classes are so wonderful, and like everybody is so happy to hear you again. So, my question is that why is human tendency to ignore the goods that we have? Like you said, when we live in association of devotees, we have this facility. So why is our natural brain tries to ignore rather than accept it? It could have accepted.
There is a phenomenon called familiarity. Okay? Familiarity just works on everybody. When we're meeting someone very great for the very first time, then we are very much aware, alert, and right on goals, ready, in awe. But if you meet the person every day, then that newness starts to wear down, and we become used to it. That used to is called familiarity, and in that there is a risk. That the risk is that we take it for granted. There's a famous proverb: familiarity breeds contempt, because we see the person or whatever again, every day. That's just how it is. It's a natural phenomenon. So we have to remind ourselves every day. How many of us, maybe here, first time went on the altar? Anyone have an experience? First time. How was it? It's a little daunting.
Yeah, it is daunting, overwhelming, and every single step you watch that you don't do a mistake or an aparat.
Exactly. You do it for 1 month, the perspiration will go, you'll walk right in, step right up, pick up the bell, do it, because there's familiarity. But we have to watch that the familiarity doesn't turn into contempt or take it for granted. Anything else? I'm checking to see if all the eyes are open. Okay, if you have...
Sometimes in India we have so many gods, so they have this tendency to have the doubt who is the Supreme Lord. So I thought that once we know that how great the Supreme Lord is, that is when they get the faith to have, to get convinced. So I was thinking in one way is that in a way good to know that how great the Lord is, and then their faith increases. Is that how it can be?
Yeah, it's always good, but he has already amply demonstrated it. No? Our issue is not how great God is or how great Krishna is. Our issue is quite unique to us. How great is He for me? That is our concern. He may be very great for you, but He hasn't done anything for me yet. That's my concern. So first He has to prove Himself, not in general, to each one of us. That is all. Yes. Hello, Krishna.
Probably you mentioned that eyelid sorry.
No, Ramchandra is calling.
So the eyelid of Sugriva and Ravana and Mother Sita.
The left eye
The left
of Bali, Ravana and Sita.
So how is so for the Sita Devi it should have been auspicious, but
Auspicious. Why is it not auspicious?
but she was taken away from the Ram. So how do I understand?
So she was not taken away after the eye was twitching. The eye twitched after she was taken away. So it's the message that very soon, victory or Lord Ramachandra will come. Something auspicious will happen. That's the message for her. That because Lord Ramachandra and Sugriva are agreeing on a pact of friendship, naturally portends favorability for her.
I don't misunderstood the timing.
See, for most wives, the left eye twitching first and then separating actually is a blessing. Not in Sita Devi. Valmiki Ramayana.
Complete English translation.
Mm-hmm.
Is it so we did search for it?
When you say Valmiki Ramayana with English translation, are you looking for like the Sanskrit shloka in the English,
Yeah.
or are you looking for just the English rendition of all of the shlokas?
The Sanskrit words and the translation.
So the only I'm sure there are many. The one that I am familiar with is Gita Press, but their English is very Victorian, and the words they use we never use. The demons are called ogres, and so you have to get used to that language.
Hare Krishna. Did Sugriva recognize his mistake ever?
No. At least it never says Sugriva knowingly said sorry to Lord Ramachandra. But what's more important is that it got corrected. Lord Ramachandra corrected it for him.
Yeah, two things happened, which is Hanuman did the right thing to respect Lakshmana. Lord Ramachandra did the facilitated, at least in the case of Sugriva, to bow his head down and be humble, even though without his knowledge. Maybe that's some relationship between Lord Ramachandra and Sugriva that Lord facilitated that.
Yeah.
In the case of people, ordinary persons like us, it's sometimes, not sometimes, many times you don't even recognize you did that type of a disrespect to a devotee.
Correct.
First of all, even if somebody slapped you on your face, you will not know, oh, this is because, maybe somebody does not even think or even relate, but to speak about Lord himself coming and doing that. So there is no mention in there that Sugriva recognized it.
No. But if you give me 5 minutes,
Yes,
I want to say something important.
yeah.
This is to tell all the men how important it is to take the advice of their wives. If you are already not doing so. So all the women are alert. So when Sugriva went the second time and called Bali, come out, Bali jumped up from his seat and was about to dash out of the door. His wife Tara held him and said, don't go. So he said, you're always like this. Whenever I want to go somewhere, you say of course, he didn't say that. So he said, why? Tara said, just think for a moment. Sugriva got beat up so badly that he was on the verge of death in your hands. And he went away. And very quickly he turned and come back and said, Bali, come out. If he has that strength, it's not his strength. And I've heard that he has made a pact with Lord Ram. And that is the strength he is relying on, not his own. Which means there is something, a bigger, as they say in the Shadyantra, there's a plot. And I am afraid you will not come back alive. He said, you grab or you have. You just go down and come. He never came back. So, please, let's all, if you're not already. Actually, in marriage, when she brings the Varamala, we anyway bow our head down, right? So keep it going. Do your best. Because they know, and they are they're intuitive. Women generally are very intuitive, and they can assess very well. So, Tara did it first.
Yes, someone that how he realized the Sugriva, he has made the mistake. So somehow to inform him that you have made mistake, you got this thing.
Correct. Somebody should have informed him.
No, this is not about somebody don't know anything.
Okay.
But naturally what will happen.
So Sugriva by nature is not an offensive person.
That is right.
Okay.
Yes.
So after that in the Ramayana, you never see Sugriva disrespecting Lakshmana or Lord Ramachandra at all. So what it means is Sugriva was so absorbed in his own problem that he forgot the nicety or the proper etiquette. It happens with us too. When we become self-absorbed, my problem, that we don't notice, we are not aware of where we are. And that's why Lord Ramachandra corrected it without necessarily giving him a little class on what is going on. He just corrected it for him. But it's still an offense. So sometimes it happens. Negligent. We're negligent. We don't notice. We're not aware. That kind of.
So Guru even no knowledge of the Ramakrishna or whatever we made the first time. For their
So that's why Lord Ramachandra had to prove his strength to him. That was the whole point.
the whole point was he had the Lakshman was present there. With Ram and Lakshman, they came there to meet him. The Supreme Heaven no knowledge what at all. He's a Lakshman, but I want to give respect.
Yeah.
He's a common man with normal mistake like that. We don't have this person, but this person make the mistake.
Right.
What real thing what happened?
But it is the point that he knows Lord Ramachandra is coming from the kingdom of Ayodhya. He was a prince. He knows the story, which means Lakshmana is a very powerful Kshatriya. How can you not respect? If someone comes to your house, even if you don't know how great they are, if two people come, you don't give a seat to one person and the other person you ignore. Right? You give seat to both. It is not important for us to know how important they are, but it is important that hospitality means two people come, you give both place to sit, not just one person. That's hospitality. And it just happens to be Lakshmana, the supreme personality, who is acting or enacting or personifying the Mahabhagavata role. So that's important. I have other things to say, but some other time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, sir. Nithan Varana Prabhu, please give a big hand. I didn't have enough words to express my heartfelt gratitude for your presence here. And as I said, you can hear Prabhu speaking forever, right? So we need it back here much more frequently.
Krishna.
It's not my permission. Krishna permission.
Radharani Mataji. Sure.
Right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Very quickly, we have two Sunday feast sponsors. One is Ashish Vashni and Veena Thakur, seeking Krishna and devotees' blessings for their son Tanmai's 15th birthday. Are you here?
Yes.
Birthday. Thank you for sponsoring the Sunday feast. And then there is Krishna Bhavida Prabhu and family seeking Krishna's blessings for daughter Kriti's 9th birthday. Kriti, Krishna conscious birthday, going big. So for the spiritual welcome of both these families, kindly chant after me, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all for sponsoring this feast, and you can always contact Abhay Prabhu. I don't know where he is. There. Yeah, if you wish to sponsor Sunday feast, you can please contact him. Is Shyam here? Where is he?
He's only a voice in the sky today.
He's here. He's a very solid voice going to be here.
Not solid voice. Again, I'm a servant and trying to be a servant. So, a quick announcement. And it's kind of a little bit encouraging, so I thought I should tell you all. So today we had a committee meeting, and we have formed a committee and who give us advice on temple construction. So, and we don't know how to do it. Many things is a big project, so in a very skeptical way, but we have definite goal to do it. So today we talked about should we do it, should we don't do it, we don't have money, should we wait. But the direction from them is that we do it. Right? I know it's difficult, but if we don't do it, then there is never a good way to do it. So they are standing behind us, they are coming out of various ideas. Some of them are giving larger money as interest-free loan so that we can start the project. Some of them are saying that, okay, I will give you all the interest for another few years for a certain amount. So many ideas are coming, but the one idea always is that the idea we hold, right? Ultimately, they are here to help us, right? So we have to do our own part. So I'm first of all humbly requesting you all to do whatever way you can help support. And in this regard, on June 2nd, we are doing our fundraising dinner. So this is the first time we are trying to host. By the way, generally in ISKCON, we are not used to asking for money. So we are learning how to ask. And this is the fundraising dinner we are doing. We are inviting everyone. And I'm inviting you all. It's a fundraising. So obviously there is a donation, there is an investment required. So I request each and every one of you, please participate. Bring everyone that you know. Everybody knows everybody. It's just that how inspiration we have. In fact, I was one story, if you don't mind. So, Washington DC temple, I was talking to them, trying to find out how they are raising the fund. So they have somebody who gave $1 million, somebody $250,000. So I asked, oh, these are no rich people we are approaching. Then answer, no, it's not the rich people. I have like one known lady who's giving $250,000. She's just living in condos, and one person who gives $50,000 does cleaning service. So it's just the inspiration, and nobody who gave, they felt like, oh, I have given money to. ISKCON is such a reputed organization. We really take care of them. So that was very inspiring for me. I have done my part, but I will increase my contribution, and so I would need everyone to come forward, do whatever little bit you can. And if you can't do anything, just talk to me. At least that much to give me motivation so that I keep asking you. And so with that, I really want on June 2nd. June 2nd is Sunday. We are doing this program in ASEAN Market, and we need everyone's help. So please come forward and help. Thank you so much. we can take the rest and go to prasadam. Also, there is a service opportunity, if anybody is willing to help clean pots downstairs, please. Thank you.